Hi everyone, welcome to English Digest.
Hi, I'm Sam.
And I'm Angeline. So today we're going to be talking about empathy. Okay, so empathy is the ability to share someone else's feelings or experiences by imagining what it would be like to be in that person's situation. So you might have heard of the phrase to put yourself in someone else's shoes, right? Well, that is what empathy is.
OK, 你可能有听过一句话 to put yourself in someone else's shoes 穿别人的鞋子，这个是什么意思呢？其实就是设身处地为别人着想哦。你想象一下穿别人的鞋子，感受一下呢别人走路的感觉，这样子的心意呢，也就是我们今天的主题哦 ，empathy 同理心。
Okay, I think it's actually important for us to distinguish the difference between sympathy, which you've probably heard before, and empathy, since they are quite closely related.They aren't really synonymous, though, or interchangeable, okay? Because sympathy implies sharing or having the capacity to share the feelings of another person, while empathy tends to be used to mean imagining feelings that one does not actually have. So if you sympathize with someone, you understand the suffering of another, like when you say, I'm sorry you're having a bad day.However, if you empathize with someone, you actually feel or experience the pain they're going through. It's like when you watch a movie and you cry.OK,
sympathy 呢跟 empathy 长得很像哦，中文翻译也很像，但是呢，它们的差别很微妙哦。sympathy OK， 中文呢比较会翻译为同情。比方说呢，刚刚 Angeline 听到呢，朋友过了很衰的一天，哦，真的是太惨了，安慰他一下。OK， 这个比较是同情别人 sympathy， 但是呢 empathy 呢就更深度一点了。你有同理心，你呢可以感受到他的痛苦。记得呢，我们刚刚在说穿别人的鞋子吗？如果呢别人的鞋子很难穿呢，你也感觉到你的脚在痛了，这个呢就是 empathy。 比方说看电影看韩剧，女主角呢跟谁分手了啊，心很痛，我也哭了，这个呢就是同理心。
That's right. Okay, so let's take a look at our writing prompt for today,
OK, 那今天呢我们就要讲一下这个 empathy， 也就是同理心了。人与人相处中呢，相互理解是建立关系的基础，但由于每个人的经验及感受不同，能同理他人便成为人际关系的关键。请写一篇文章说明有同理心的重要性，文长至少120个单词，文需分段。
Okay, so before we begin any writing exercise, it's important to read the instructions, and you have to read them carefully so you know what you have to do. So make sure to pay attention to the criteria, such as the number of words or paragraphs your essay must include. In this writing exercise, our essay must have at least 120 words, and it needs to be separated into paragraphs. So for this writing exercise, you have to compose a 120-word article on the importance of empathy.
今天呢，我们要写这篇文章呢，要来讨论一下这个同理心的重要哦。所以呢，我们可以知道它是一篇论说文。论说文呢，顾名思义就要包含论和说是什么东西呢？也就是你的观察、客观的事实，以及呢，也要有你自己的想法、你的观点、你主观的这个想法。那很常见的考题呢，包含呢比较两个东西的优缺点呐。比方说呢，在家吃比较好还是出去吃比较好，或者是呢说明某件事情的重要性，像是呢这篇文章呢就是要来讲同理心的重要性，你就要来分析同理心到底重要还是不重要。
Okay, here is the approach you might want to take when you're writing this essay, okay? In the first paragraph, you will want to provide a definition for empathy. Okay, since we're talking about the importance of empathy, we need to be able to define it first.
Yes.
So people know exactly what is empathy, okay?
Yes.
Maybe give an example of empathy as well.
好，所以呢，刚刚说过的文章呢要分段 ，OK？ 那我们文章呢，论说文要有客观跟主观两个部分。在前半段呢，我们可以讲一下客观的，讲一下同理心到底是什么东西，让读者知道呢。既然我们要讨论同理心，当然是要先解释一下同理心是什么。比方说，像我们刚刚一开始呢，这个 Angeline 就来解释说，穿别人的鞋子，这个呢就是同理心。所以呢，我们可以讲一下这些什么是同理心。比方说，你可以用我们刚刚讲的这个谚语、俗谚来开头，或者是呢，你也可以讲一下你自己的经验。发生过什么事情，什么样的事情叫做同理心。
That's right. Okay, and in the second paragraph, you will need to address the topic, which is to explain the importance of empathy. So why is empathy important? Okay, you can talk about how being empathetic can benefit you and others, or how empathy can affect your relationships.
OK, 所以呢，再来就要讲一下第二段就是要讲我们主观的部分。你觉得为什么同理心重要？你呢可以讲一讲你自己的经验，比方说你遇到了一个有 同理心的人，那发生了什么事情，所以你觉得他很重要，或是发生了什么事情，所以你觉得人类不需要同理心也可以过得很好。这个呢是在我们第二段落里面要来讲解的事情咯。
Okay, so now we can start thinking about the details about our first paragraph, okay? We need to think about how we're going to word the definition for empathy. Remember, you can't copy the definition out of the dictionary unless you make a reference to it. So that means you have to make sure you say, oh, this was taken from Merriam-Webster, right? You can do this by saying Merriam-Webster defines empathy as blah, 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 and then put the definition in quotations, okay? Remember, in quotations.
Yes.
That's the only way you can actually copy out of the dictionary.Yes.
好，所以呢，今天要讲同理心是什么呢？你呢，当然可以使用一下这个字典的定义，或者是呢哪一个名人说过的话。但既然呢是引用，就记得要写出处，是谁说的，要让读者知道，不然呢就是侵权咯。
Okay, and in the second paragraph, you'll talk about the importance of empathy. Okay, so there are several approaches you can take to get your idea across by talking about the benefits of empathy or what happens when people lack empathy, okay? So we can talk about the benefits, or we can talk about what happens if you don't have empathy. Let's take a look at writing sample 1, okay? So the writer decided to list the benefits of being empathetic by talking about how it makes us better people and helps us to be more adaptable.OK,
所以呢，在我们的这个范例文章1里面呢，我们就是要来讲说这个为什么同理心呢可以让你成为一个更好的人。OK， 在我们的文章里面呢，它第一个段落就解释了这个同理心是什么东西，第二个段落里面呢，则是讲说同理心让我们成为更好的人，所以呢，他就举了很多例子来讲说为什么同理心重要。
Okay, and then in writing sample 2, the writer talks about how empathy can promote helping behaviors, which are behaviors that are intended to help other people and help humans form connections with one another.
OK, 所以呢，在第二篇文章呢，它则是不同的切入点了。它在讲这个人际关系，解释呢为什么有同理心可以促进人际关系，甚至可以帮助整个社会哦。最后呢，他还讲到了，假如说没有同理心的话，会世界末日，非常严重，所以一定要有同理心。
That's right. Can you imagine if we never helped each other, we probably would never have a chance to talk to each other either.
No.
Yeah, like if you hold the door open for somebody.
Yeah.
And then you say, thank you. Maybe you can start a connection. You can start talking to each other because of that act, that helping behavior. Okay, so let's take a look at our structure and our outline, okay? So now that you have a general idea of what you're going to write, it's time to organize your ideas into an outline. So outlines are important in the writing process. It's the foundation of your essay. Outlines allow you to organize the paragraphs into an order that makes sense, and it also ensures each paragraph is fully developed.
好，所以呢，在这边呢，提醒大家，在我们开始写作之前，在我们看我们这个范例文章怎么写作之前呢，提醒大家一定要先写出一个 outline， 写出一个大纲哦，因为呢，大纲可以帮助你呢，在这个后续的写作呢，不要走歪了，就是呢，保持你这个维持着大纲，不会写到奇怪的地方去了。
We also need to make sure we have an introduction and a conclusion, okay? So in writing sample 1, the writer used a quote to begin the essay. The saying goes, "Don't judge me until you've walked a mile in my shoes." So this is a clever way to introduce the topic. Before you even give the definition of empathy, it gives the audience an example so they can relate, okay? So they might not know what empathy is, but from reading this quote, they can kind of get an idea, okay, of what it means to have empathy.
好，所以呢，我们看一下这个范例文章1是怎么写的哦。在这边呢，一开始的这个主题句，它呢破题破得很好，它直接使用了一个俗谚，也就是我们刚刚说过的穿别人鞋子走的这句话。OK， 用一个大家都听过的话来破题呢，马上就可以让读者知道说我们今天要讲的是什么，主题是什么。而且呢，他看完他可能不知道这个 empathy 是什么意思，但是他看完这句穿别人的鞋子走路，他可能就大概知道说empathy 大概讲的是这个事情。而且呢，同时呢，你引用这些俗谚或是引用别人的话呢，就会让人家觉得说你好像懂很多，读很多书哦。所以呢quote 引用别人的话呢，就可以达到这种效果。所以有空呢，就多阅读，多背一点句子哦。
Some sentences become quotes because I guess they kind of get the point across with as little words as possible. So don't judge me until you've walked a mile in my shoes. I think that's a very good quote because we all don't know that somebody is also fighting a battle of their own, right?
Yes.
So you can't say, why did that person do that? Or, judge a person for what they're doing unless you know what it's like to be that person.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so this introduction that we write paves the way for the rest of the essay, okay? So now we can add details and turn the answers we brainstormed earlier into full sentences. So let's take a look at the outline for writing sample 1. Okay, so topic sentence. Empathy means the ability to understand others' experiences and feelings, okay? We're able to comprehend the reasons behind both our actions and those of others. And then point B is seeing many sides makes us more sensitive to how experience shapes a person.
好，所以呢，看完了我们这个 intro， 就是讲说这个穿别人的鞋子走一里路之后呢，他马上进入我们的第一个段落。那第一个段落的主题句呢，马上就是我们刚刚讲过的，他就在解释 empathy 是一个什么样的概念。empathy 呢，就表示呢，你能够理解别人的这个经验和别人的感受。OK， 他写了2个句子A 跟 B。OK，A 呢就是表示你有一个同理心的话呢，你就可以了解别人在做这些行为的时候，他背后的理由是什么。OK， 比方说呢，你看到一个人可能乱丢垃圾，为什么他乱丢垃圾？但搞不好其实是因为他手很痛，这个垃圾戳破他的手了，他受伤了之类的。OK， 你呢有同理心的话，你就可以知道说，他做这件事情背后的理由是什么。那呢，同时呢，你看了这个多面向呢，你知道事情的很多面向之后，你就可以更加的敏感，你就可以知道这个经验呢是怎么样 shapes，OK， 怎么样来塑造一个人，更了解一个人的成长，更了解一个人的感受。所以呢，在这边呢，他就是用了这些句子呢来解释同理心到底是一个什么样的概念，让读者理解 empathy 是什么东西，然后我们就可以进入我们的第2个段落了。
So now let's take a look at the points for the second paragraph, okay? Our topic sentence is practicing empathy has numerous benefits, okay? So here they list the benefits. For 1, it helps us become better people. B, also being empathetic makes us more adaptable. And C, finally we can be better listeners and better friends.
好，所以呢，在第2段落呢，他就讲说了这个为什么要有同理心，他的主题句就讲说了，如果你有同理心的话呢，你会有很多好处 OK， 那呢很多好处是什么样的好处呢？比方说可以让你的适应力更强啊，你变成一个更好的人，变成更好的人之后呢，你就可以变成一个很好的听众，更好的来帮助你的亲朋好友。在这边呢，它有一个很好的用法呢，就是条列了 OK。 For one， 第一件事情是怎么样 Also， 同时另外呢也怎么样 Finally， 最后 OK， 这些转折用语词汇在写作论说文的时候呢很好用，因为呢它会让你整个文章看起来更有条理了。
That's right, they're important. Okay, and finally the conclusion to sum up the entire essay, okay? The conclusion says, to be the best versions of ourselves, it's essential to see through the eyes of others.
OK， 别忘了呢，最后我们要下一个结论了。在这个范例里面的结论就是要提醒大家都要有同理心。你呢要成为一个你最棒的自己，就是要有同理心。在这边他说了另外一个句子 ，see through the eyes of others。OK， 跟我们刚刚讲的鞋子一样，透过别人的眼睛来看，就是呢用别人的角度来看事情，设身处地的为别人着想的意思。
That's right. So an outline ensures you have included everything you need, but also keeps your writing to the point. Okay,
Yes.
You need to be concise. So what's more, you can see where you need to cut information or find places where more information is needed to support your statements. You'll see that your essay is actually finally taking shape once you write out an outline.
OK， 没有错。再一次提醒大家，写作文章之前呢，一定要先写大纲了。当你有大纲出来了，你就可以知道哪边有不足，哪边需要删减，哪边太多太少等等哦。你的文章的架构会更好，所以记得一定要先写出大纲。
So now that you have your introduction, your conclusion, and your outline is complete, writing your body paragraphs should be fairly straightforward, okay? All you need to do is expand the ideas in your outline. This involves making paragraphs that not only flow from sentence to sentence within the paragraphs, but also between each paragraph, right? And it's also important to use transitions when writing your essay, which
Yes.
Sam talked about earlier.
Yes, that's very important. 所以呢，很重要的事情呢，就是当你写完大纲之后，其实你的文章就已经写好了。例如，我们刚刚看了一下范例文章1的大纲，它的主题句呢都出来了。再来呢，你只要加入的是什么？比方说加入一些细节，再来呢加入一些我们刚刚讲过的这个转折、连接的这些词语哦。大纲呢可以大大的帮助你呢节省实际写作的时间。记得写作之前一定要先把你的大纲写出来咯。
Oh, so remember that quote in writing sample 1, don't judge me until you've walked a mile in my shoes? I think it can be actually pretty hard to stop yourself from judging other people.
Yes.
Sometimes you may wonder why certain people behave a certain way. You might see a young man sitting in the priority seat of the MRT, and you're like, why is he sitting in the priority seat? The young man looks healthy. He isn't holding a cane or using crutches, so it doesn't look like he's injured in any way. And then when an elderly person gets in the train, that young man that we saw earlier, well, he doesn't give up his seat. So most people are there pointing their fingers, right? They'll start judging that young man, like, why didn't you get up? They'll criticize him. They'll maybe put him online, take a photo of him and put him online and make everybody criticize him and say that he's inconsiderate and selfish for occupying a priority seat. Well, what you might not know is maybe this young man has an injury, okay? And it hurts for him to stand for too long. So maybe he's feeling really dizzy and he needs to sit down. We don't know. So we can't say that he's being inconsiderate or selfish just because he did not give up his seat. Maybe he really needs the seat.
Yeah, we don't know that. You have to see different sides.
Exactly.
To actually understand the reason behind it.
Yeah, so sometimes you might find yourself judging very quickly, but you can't. But it's also important to take a look at the situation again, and maybe there's something else that we don't know that is going on.
Yeah, it's hard, but you have to try to and start to think about the reason behind it.
That's right. Okay, so let's take a quick break before we continue with the rest of our lesson. Unit 12, Topic-Based Writing.
December 20th.
The importance of having empathy. Writing sample 1. Don't judge me until you've walked a mile in my shoes. This English saying sums up the principle of empathy, the ability to understand others' experiences and feelings. But why is empathy important? As human beings, we have the capacity to think about the reasons behind both our own actions and the actions of others. Seeing many sides makes us more sensitive to how different people are shaped by experience. Practicing empathy has numerous benefits. For one, we become better people. If we understand what others are feeling, we have more patience and kindness toward them. We recognize that their lives are just as complex and important as our own. Also, being empathetic makes us more adaptable. We can adjust to unfamiliar situations if we learn to understand the people around us. Finally, we can be better listeners and better friends if we show empathy toward other people. In order to be the best versions of ourselves, I believe it's essential to see through the eyes of others as well. Okay, so now let's take a look at some of the helpful words and phrases in our writing sample 1. You might want to take note of them so you can use them in your writing, okay? Sums up. To sum up something means to provide a summary of or to summarize the main points of something in a short and clear form. So the quote sums up the concept or principle of empathy, right? The quote earlier that we talked about, don't judge me until you walk a mile in my shoes. That actually sums up the concept or the principle of empathy. So when someone comes back from a trip, you can also ask them to sum up their trip in one word. For example, Sam, sum up your trip to Hawaii in one word.
Awesome! OK， 所以呢，写文章的时候呢，我们可以用到 sum up。sum up 呢，它可以表示总结来说，总而言之的意思了。比方说，像我们刚刚前面讲说这个穿别人鞋走一里路的这个句子呢，它事实上就很好的这个浓缩了、简洁的把 empathy 是一个什么样的概念浓缩在一个句子里面。这个时候我们就可以讲说 sums up， 或者是比方说像刚刚 Angeline 问我说sum up your trip to Hawaii， 这个讲一下说你去夏威夷玩的心得怎么样 ？OK， 注意到 sum up 既然是浓缩的，所以可能是一个字或是一句话就把它讲完了。那另外呢 sum up 它也可以表示我们刚刚讲总而言之总结来说 OK， 这个 to conclude 或是 in conclusion， 当你文章写到最后面的时候，你可以用 sum up， 最后用一句话把它 sum up， 把它总结起来 recap 一下你前面文章里面讲的重点是什么咯。
That's right, yeah. Sum up is pretty much saying a conclusion of whatever
Yes.
happened. Yeah. So the word capacity which we saw in the writing sample as well, refers to the ability to understand or to do something. For example, you guys probably have heard of the lady Marie Kondo.
Yes.
Have you, Marie? Okay. She's an amazing capacity for organization. Okay, she's very, very good at what she does. She's very good at organizing. You already know who Marie Kondo is, but she's actually an organizing consultant for some of you who don't know who she is. And she has a minimalism-inspired approach. That means, less is more. That's her idea in life. And she helps people declutter their house. That means remove all of the stuff that is not important in your life or that, because
that doesn't make you feel anything.
Yeah, she uses this phrase spark joy, okay? So spark joy means, does this make you happy? So she'll go through your house, she'll take each item and she'll be like, does this spark joy for you? And if you feel happy about it, then you can keep it. But if you have no emotion to it, then she'll be like, get rid of it. Yeah, that's what she does.
I really need her to help me
to clutter
with my
your house.
wardrobe. Yeah, there's too much things in my room. Okay, capacity 这个字呢就表示容量。比方说呢，我们可以讲说 a capacity audience of 50,000. OK， 这座体育馆呢可以容纳5万人，或者呢讲说你的电脑的硬碟的容量。OK， 这些容量我们就可以讲说 capacity。但是当我们用 capacity 来形容人的时候呢，则是表示他的办事能力。比方说刚刚 Angeline 举例的这个怦然心动整理术 OK 近藤麻里惠这个呢空斗他怎么样呢 has an amazing capacity for organization OK 他很会整理多乱的房间到他手上呢都会变整齐所以 capacity 就表示说他做事情的能力形容人的时候跟形容东西的时候意思就很不一样咯
Yeah, Marie Kondo, she actually has her own technique of how to fold things. And she folds them really nicely. Have you ever seen the videos of her folding? Like some people, they're kind of poking fun at it, but what they'll do is they'll give her very ridiculous things to fold and see if she's able to fold them into very neat, compact pieces. So they'll give her I think they gave her a bag of chips to fold and stuff like that. It's really funny. You guys should look at it. Yeah. Okay, so the writer mentions that being empathetic makes us more adaptable. Okay, so to be adaptable means that you can adapt or change your behavior in order to deal more successfully with a new situation.
OK, 所以呢我们看到这个 adaptable 这个字呢就表示有适应能力的能够适应的或是呢形容这个人是适应力很强的 OK, adapt 就是适应或是习惯所以你后面加上 able adaptable 就表示可以做到这件事情 The survivors in this life seem to be those who are adaptable to change OK, 能在这种生活状态下幸存的人呢好像都是那些可以适应变化的人
So we all want to be better people or the best versions of ourselves, right? Okay, so the word version refers to a form of something that is slightly different from an earlier form, usually showing improvements. For example, iPhone XS is supposed to be a better version of iPhone X,
Yes,
right?
yes. OK, version 这个字呢，你很常看到这个，比方说玩游戏啊，或是硬体更新的时候会看到，它呢就是指版本。比方说像我们刚刚讲玩游戏，它有新的副本更新啦，或是它解了什么 bug， 你就会看到这个 app 后面呢，它会写这个 V0.1 啊 V1.2 V7.3， 这个 V 就是 version 就是版本，或是呢刚刚 Angeline 说的这个 iPhone XS， 这个 S 呢跟刚刚讲的 10呢，它就是不同版本的 iPhone， 所以呢在这个文章里面他说 a better version of ourselves 的，我们可以成为一个更好版本的我们，就表示我们可以成为更好的人的意思。
Yeah. Okay. Writing sample 2. In my opinion, empathy is one of the most important personality traits a person can have. To put it simply, empathy involves the ability to understand another person's emotions and what they might be going through. Another way of defining empathy might be putting yourself in another person's shoes, to borrow a phrase. So, why is empathy important? Being able to feel another person's pain and suffering and then respond with compassion leads to helping behavior. This pro-social behavior, or actions we take that are intended to help or benefit others, helps us connect with other people. As social creatures, we regularly depend on others to meet our needs. Thus, creating strong bonds with family members and those in our communities is a necessary part of survival. Our connections with others not only provide a sense of safety, security, and comfort, but also provide assistance in caring for our children, the elderly, and the sick. I believe that while some individuals might survive without these bonds, the human race as a whole would be doomed. So now let's take a look at writing sample 2, okay? There are some actually pretty good words in here and phrases that you might want to take note of as well. So a trait is a particular quality in your personality. For example, psychologists still do not know which behavioral traits are inherited and which are acquired, okay? So this has actually been an ongoing debate in psychology, nature versus nurture, which means are we born with it or has this quality been shaped by the environment.
OK, trait 这个字呢，就是表示你个人的特征、特质，或是你个人的一个品质咯。OK, a particular quality in your personality. OK, 那这个是天生遗传来的，还是你后天教育的？这个现在没有人知道，大家很常在讨论这件事情啊。比方说呢 ，his sense of humor is one of his better traits. OK, 具有幽默感呢，是他更讨人喜欢的特点之一。这个呢，就是他个人的特色 ，a trait。So
to have compassion, which we saw as well, the word compassion, is to have a strong feeling of sympathy for people who are suffering and a desire to help them.
OK, 所以呢 ，compassion 这个字呢，就是同情、怜悯，或者我们中文说的恻隐之心。这个字呢，就好像我们刚刚讲的 sympathy 同情啊。I was hoping she might show a little compassion. OK, 我当时想呢，她或许会表现出一点同情心。
She must be talking about the boss or something,
Yes.
right? Showing a little compassion. You're making me work overtime every day. Okay. Pro-social behavior is a social behavior that benefits other people or society as a whole, okay?
Yep.
So behaviors such as helping, sharing, donating clothes, donating money, cooperating, volunteering, these are all pro-social behaviors. So behaviors that can be described as pro-social include feeling empathy. So a good example of this is when a person sacrifices their own life or puts their life at risk in order to help other people.
OK, 所以 pro-social behavior，OK，pro 这个字首呢就表示支持的意思了，所以 pro-social behavior 就是亲信社会，你是喜欢这个帮助这个社会的，比方说你愿意这个跟别人分享啊，你愿意跟别人合作，甚至是你愿意捐钱、捐衣服、捐物资，或是你愿意去当志工等等，这些都是亲信的一个这个行为。那相反的呢？ Anti-social behavior，OK，anti 这个字首就表示反对的 ，anti-social behavior 就是反社会的这些行为。比方说呢，你可能不喜欢跟别人讲话，你这个可能会去做一些破坏的事情啊，或是这个去爆炸等等的，这些可能就是 anti-social behavior。
Criminals usually display antisocial behavior. Yeah. People who murder, people who steal, that kind of thing. Yeah. Okay, so if something is doomed, it means that something is certain to fail or to suffer or to die. For example, if a couple cheated on each other before they even got married, we can say their marriage was doomed from the start.
OK, doom 这个词呢，就表示毁灭的意思。如果你有玩过一个游戏，它就叫做 Doom, D-O-O-M. OK, 毁灭战士。
Oh, yeah, I played
yes.
that.
Very old title.
Yeah. Okay, so the reason why I actually majored in psychology was so I could understand people better and to learn to be more empathetic. That was one of the reasons why I studied psychology.
That's very good.
Yeah, and I think it's been pretty helpful in trying to be more empathetic.
Yeah.
So guys, you guys have to remember to be kind, okay? Because everyone is fighting a battle we know nothing about.
Yeah, that's very important.
Yeah. Okay, so that's all the time we have for today. This is Angeline.
This is Sam.
Goodbye.
Bye.